Do you feel like you're barely keeping your head above water? That no matter how hard you try, meaningful progress remains out of reach? Heather gets that. She battled an eating disorder for years before seeking help. Now in recovery, Heather is here to tell you that positive change is possible even when it doesn't feel that way. Join her as she shares openly about her struggles and small triumphs. Fair warning though, Heather doesn't hold back. Her candid story may trigger some. But for those wanting honesty, hope, and healing, this is 1% Better with Heather. The information and stories shared on 1% Better are based on host Heather's personal experiences with eating disorders and mental health challenges. Heather is not a licensed doctor, therapist, dietitian, or other health professional. Her advice and opinions should not be taken as professional medical advice. Please consult your physician or a qualified health provider regarding any medical or health-related issues. 1% Better also contains descriptions of eating disorders that may be triggering for some listeners. Discretion is advised.
Hi there, my little gappers, and welcome to 1% Better with Heather. I'm so excited today. I have a special guest, Kimberly. Welcome, Kimberly.
Hi, Heather. Thanks for having me. Very
Oh,
happy to
thank.
be here.
Oh, I'm so happy. Thank you. So let's just dive right in. Can I get you to introduce yourself to the people?
Yeah, of course. So, hello, everyone. My name is Kimberly Geason, and I am a feminine embodiment coach, trained chef. Actually, I spent 20 plus years of my life in the culinary industry in the back of the house as a chef. And yes, also at that time, I had an eating disorder as well. So it was kind of through the world of feminine embodiment or embodiment in general that I was able to come home to myself and recover.
So, how did you get on the hamster wheel of hell, as I call it, with the eating disorder?
Yeah. Um, it started innocently enough, of course. I wanted to just go, I had it in my mind that I would just go on a little diet and I would lose a few pounds and shape up. And I was athletic. I was by no means, out of shape or overweight. At this time, I think, just at that awkward stage in high school where you're kind of becoming more of a woman. So you're going through a developmental phase. So I thought, I'm going to go on this little diet. It's going to be great. And then I'm going to feel better about myself and people are going to like me. And then from there, it just stemmed into, as you very well describe, a hamster wheel of hell, where it's just like constantly felt like I was setting myself up for failure. And it was this spiral of just shame with food and myself.
So, how did that, I can guess, how did that lead you into being a chef?
So I think, I've always loved food and cooking. My family, my mom especially, loved to cook, and I always loved how food brought people together. Um, People are always gathering in kitchens around the dinner table, around food, around a meal. So I loved that aspect, and I loved the creative aspect. But I think there is a piece in there that stems from of like trying to control and limit my food intake. Like you almost become obsessed with it in a sense, and it becomes your main focus. So you're interested in, or I was anyways, in all things food, and culinary kind of became my outlet. And there were other pieces that I liked about it as well. I mentioned I played sports. So being in the kitchen is very much like a camaraderie. Everybody works together as a team, and it's kind of like a family, if you will.
And I know for me, I can only speak from my experience what I did. I love to bake. I'm by no means a chef, but I would, in the depths of my eating disorder, man, it looked like Grand Central Station around here. Bake and bake and bake and bake. Didn't eat any of it, but baked and baked and baked and baked and baked. Is that something you can relate to?
Definitely. Interestingly enough, my curiosity in food started with baking as well. And then I kind of delved more into the savory aspect. I think I turned away from baking because of all the measuring. But so I guess my thing is I would make things and then I would try to limit my consumption of them, which essentially led to a binge. So it was like this teetering back and forth of like trying to control and no, you can't have that, to utter, you know, I don't want to know if I want to say chaos, but it almost felt like chaos in my body anyways.
So while all this is going on, and your job's a chef, you're I call my eating disorder slick. I can just imagine what's going up in your head. You're on this hamster wheel of hell. Does that affect how you serve your food, or are you getting
Mm-hmm.
some satisfaction that you're watching other people eat and maybe you're not?
Um, I always I had different roles, I guess, throughout my career as a chef. I worked in kitchens and then I worked in people's homes as well. So it was definitely more intimate, I would say, when you're working in a kitchen and you're just kind of preparing dishes for people that you don't see. Um, there's not this like special piece to it. But when you're in somebody's home preparing them foods, it was really nice to have them enjoy my food. And I think eventually, what I noticed for myself was my binging, or when I was using food, it was almost as a way to silence my voice. If somebody had like crossed a boundary for me, or asked me to do something that I had a hard time saying no. And I think eventually what I came to use food for was that way to just like numb my voice out. And then I had to kind of learn to use my voice again. Um,
So what does that look like? Like when you start, okay, I got to recover. How does that look for you?
mhm. I mean, there was, as I'm sure maybe you experienced as well, I had a lot of shame with my eating disorder. I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to share there were a few other people that even really knew it was something that I was struggling with, or even, with the pretense that it had been something that I struggled with in the past. So it started kind of with going to therapists and speaking with them. And then I did do a program for a while where I went and stayed at a clinic. And none of this really seemed to work for me specifically. And maybe that was because I worked with food daily as well. I really had to kind of re-establish trust with myself, and and trusting that I could make sound decisions for myself with food, that I could take care of myself, that I could nurture myself, and that if I stood up for myself and spoke a boundary with somebody, that it wouldn't lead to the ultimate collapse of my job. People wouldn't leave me, abandon me, type thing. It was okay to use my voice.
And how did you get that to that point of, because it's really scary, like you talk control, yeah, we all have control issues
Mm-hmm.
and some other underlining issues, right? Throw everything
Mm-hmm.
in there. And how did, because like our eating disorder wants to keep us segregated and in that pit of hell. How did you find the strength to be like, no, I can do this and bring yourself out of it?
It really started with awareness of if I was being triggered to use my eating disorder behaviors, to kind of become aware of that and get curious about where that was coming from, what was causing that to arise for me, and then really to kind of take a leap of faith and trust that. And it was really gradual over time. I mean, it was little baby steps. It was almost like these little, as someone said before, like little deposits of trust that I would put in my bank. And over time, they grew and they grew. But it just kind of starts small. And really, when you have those moments, to take some time to really to notice them and to celebrate them for yourself. Like, you know what? I wanted to engage in this behavior and I didn't. Or I instead of doing it right away, I waited, a half hour or an hour. And then gradually over time it increases as your confidence and your trust in yourself kind of rebuilds.
And I know it's hard to put a timeline on that, but how long did it take you to get from like point A to point B and then C, D, E?
It was definitely, I would say it was a slower process, probably. And I don't know if that was because I was literally working with food every day. So I had that, all hours of my shift, food in front of me. So I'm sure that played a role into it as well. But I would probably say, like once I feel like I really got to this place where I was kind of taking accountability for my own healing, like 5 years, like a slow, like gradual, like getting 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, that's not a horrible timeline, really, for having to unlearn years of stuff. Like, that's hard to rewire your brain again.
Yeah.
So, how did that lead you into your body love, so to speak?
I feel like I kind of, so there was really a piece of awareness that I needed to become aware of what things were happening. And then there was this piece of self-compassion that was really big for me as well. Reading and learning about self-compassion and how to, give it to myself and to forgive myself. And I had to look at, some of the things in my past that may have, the deeper drivers that may have led me to take on these behaviors. And I had to understand that my eating disorder, like why it manifested, like essentially it was my body's way with the only tools that I had at that time to try to keep me safe. So in kind of understanding that and learning to love and forgive myself, starting with maybe some nurturing, just holding my hand on my heart, just gentle breathing, kind of self-compassion meditations. I did a lot of journaling, I think, which helped. And I really started to become curious about the things that I was interested in before my eating disorder, or maybe when I was younger, like things that would really light me up just because, for the sheer fact that it brought me joy, not because it was an exercise that I had to do or something that I had to do that was beneficial or productive in any way. It was just for fun.
And on this self discovery, what did you find out about yourself? You're like, oh, well, didn't see that one coming.
Um, that I feel like I kind of over the years I lost my connection to myself, and I would actually look outside of myself for how I was, because I didn't trust myself. So I was looking externally for next steps or ways that I should be living my life, as to, should I be buying a house right now? What should be my next career move be? Where should I be at in my timeline of life? And in that as well, I feel like I lost kind of my capacity for fun and joy, and bringing that in little by little, and like even with little things like coloring and painting, like bringing in creativity, started to open my mind up to a different way of being that I hadn't had in a long time.
And now you work with, I'm going to, women
Mm-hmm.
mainly. For do a lot of women, because you're a body love coach, right? All everything, love everything about yourself. What It's difficult, right? That's why we have eating disorders.
Mm-hmm.
What would like the number one thing you could say to somebody that they can start baby steps to start loving themselves, pull themselves out of the mud, so to speak?
Mm-hmm. Um, for me, like I said, there was really this kind of element of trust, and learning to trust yourself, and learning to give yourself permission to do things that you love, not because of, like I said, the eating disorder, not because it's an exercise or a diet or it's going to be healthy for you, just because it it brings you joy, and it fulfills you in a way that your eating disorder can't.
So now, fully recovered, what does life look like for you?
Um, so I live in a house with my husband and two children. So there are a lot of snacks here, always snacks and treats, and that's something that I never kept in my house for myself when I was struggling. So just being aware of this drastic change where I can be in this place, this home, with all of this stuff available to me, and I can choose to have some if I would like, and I do. I feel like it's really about balance for me. So, and choosing what I want to have for myself. So, asking myself every day, like, what do I want to have for breakfast? And not because it's the healthiest thing, or, just really kind of tuning into my body and sensing what it is that I want, and that also that I need. Because I feel like your body will tell you what it needs.
So making peace with food is hard, right?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly, like your body will tell you what it needs, and sometimes it wants a donut, and that's okay. Sometimes it wants an apple, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But that slick. He, how do you turn off? Because I personally never had a problem eating the food. Eating the food was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Keeping it there was a whole nother story. So, how do
Yes.
we turn off that voice to say, this is what your body needs
Mm-hmm.
and you're safe? How do we start to do that?
Um, for me, that really feels like being committing to this, to the whatever it is, whether it's a donut, whether it's an apple. I mean, I would say people would probably struggle more with a donut, let's say, and committing to, okay, my body wants a donut. It's perfectly fine for me to have a donut, and I'm going to really pick a donut that I love and I'm going to enjoy, and I'm going to take the time to sit and enjoy it. And I'm going to be present, and I'm going to take my time, and I'm going to notice the texture, the taste, the smell, all the things. And I'm going to really enjoy that. And then I'm going to take some time to kind of sit with it and just, you know, tell myself if I'm getting a little frantic about it, maybe placing my hand on my heart, or like one hand on my heart, one hand on my belly, and just kind of offering myself some comfort, and saying that it's okay. It's just a donut. Like it's fine. You're okay. Like that's normal to have. And I don't know, that seems to work for me. Sometimes I guess if it's really intense, if my eating disorder voice is really intense, I'll maybe take myself outside for a short walk with my dog or something. Nothing intense, nothing, on the sense of like, I need to burn these calories. It's really just to kind of get out of that space and clear my head, and nature really kind of puts me at ease. So that's something that I lean on as well for comfort.
So, can you share with us what your one-on-one coaching looks like? Like, what happens when someone comes to you?
Mm-hmm. So really, I want to. So really, you could. I connect with women, and they can bring. It doesn't have to be food related or body related. It can be any type of struggle or desire or situation that they're currently dealing with, and we'll kind of just have a quick connect for a few minutes, and then we'll do a little drop in just to kind of get us centered, like a little mini meditation, just to kind of, calm some of the stress away from the day and drop us into the body. And then we'll discuss what it is that they would like to work on, or want to focus on during that time. And then what I do after that is I bring them back into the body. And through our conversation, pieces that they had mentioned through our conversation, or different questions or prompts, will kind of guide them through the body. And I feel like the body is this wise vessel that holds on to so much stuff, whether there's so much wisdom there. And there's also sometimes, old memories or traumas that kind of we keep stuck inside of us. So just kind of moving gently through the body and meeting these parts of us. And maybe if we need to kind of clear some of the energy, or, whatever is there, I help them kind of just be safe in their body so that they can explore this for themselves.
So, what would your like your number one top here for someone to be like, all right, I'm done hating my vessel because I'm going to be stuck with me for the rest of my life, right? Like it or lump it. What's the one thing we can start doing, let's say, first thing in the morning, because that always sends a really good intention, I feel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then when we put our head on the pillow.
For me, I have really found a lot of support in journaling. I really set my morning up as like this special time where I do set myself up for the day. I light a candle, I make some coffee, some tea sometimes, and I'll grab my journal and I'll just write for however long I feel like I need to get out whatever is in there. For me, that is what I have found to be extremely supportive. I've been doing it for years now. And
very cathartic.
Mm-hmm. It really helps you, I think, kind of become aware of what's going on in your head. And then you can kind of get it out on paper and see it there right in front of you. And then from there, you can decide what you want to do with it.
Yeah, because I know I did a lot of journaling, and it's just like you get possessed. Like out of body experience. My hand's just going, and you look at it and are like, what? Because you push. We haven't felt for so long. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people just live in fight mode all the time, cortisol levels
Mm-hmm.
through the roof, right? I get people tell me, like, calm down. I'm like, I am calm. And sitting with your thoughts is hard. How,
Mm-hmm.
if for a lot of people, me included, how do you push through that uncomfortable stage? Because it's going to be weird.
Mm-hmm.
I always say the weird's the progress, but you don't see that in the moment.
I think for me, it's really about kind of accepting and allowing. Like if I notice I'm writing and I start to get like tense in my chest, or if I feel like if something's coming up and I need to have a cry, I'll stop and I'll let myself cry. Personally, for me, I believe, that the more we push our feelings down, they kind of just get repressed. And then in order to heal from our eating disorder, we have to be able to kind of meet them where they're at. And maybe that starts little by little, and that's okay. But just kind of being able to sit with them, and this was kind of what I meant a little earlier when I said like nurturing yourself through them, like knowing that I've got you. It's okay. We can have this little cry, or if we're angry, like we can like scream into a pillow or something to kind of get those feelings out, because they need to come out, because they've been kind of numbed out, I think, or repressed from the eating disorder behaviors. So, and they're completely normal. And, we're human and we're allowed to have all kinds of emotions. And just kind of allowing yourself to be human, I guess.
I I have done my fair share of shower crying. My poor shower, it needs therapy. And I've done my fair share of screaming into a pillow, and my like everyone needs therapy around here. But there's when you've been voiceless for so
Mm-hmm.
long, right?
Yeah.
In order, because what made us, it sounds sick, really, when you think about it, but our eating disorder, whatever that vice was, or whatever your vice is, everyone has an unhealthy vice somewhere.
Of course.
It just pulls us back in, right? So to feel feelings and, like you say, like to forgive yourself, it's okay. It doesn't make you a bad person that
Mm-hmm.
this happened, but we are going to heal.
Mm-hmm. To forgive yourself, yes. I think that's absolutely where it starts. And then there also has to be like this second piece of like, we want to keep moving forward. We want to keep going, like every day, like starting over, or whatever it is that like keeps you moving the needle forward in your healing. And recovery is not like a linear thing. It's like a zoop, 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 like all kinds of,
All kinds of stuff happens.
yeah. So,
But that's life, right? And we just have to learn to find healthy ways
mm-hmm.
to get through life. Because life's always going to be around as long as you're breathing, God willing, right?
Right.
So you got to figure it out. So let's
Absolutely.
say I find you on your social media and we have a little intake. What happens through after that?
Um, I have a couple different options for people. I do offer just the one-on-one coaching sessions that you can book as like a one-off, or I have a free consultation call if people want to just give it a try and talk and see if it's even for them. I do have a program that's kind of a longer, it's an 8-week program. It's called Starved to Nourished, and it's kind of based on my steps that I took through recovery. And it kind of starts with awareness, and it's an 8-week program: awareness, self-compassion, trust, building these steps within yourself. And then I also just started offering something that's an embodied cooking session. So with the intention of healing people's relationships with food and bringing more joy and playfulness and creativity into, cooking, into eating, into like just enjoying food once more.
Food's not scary. It's not, right? I can think of a whole lot of other things that are scarier than food.
Mm-hmm.
Is this done like over Zoom or like?
Yes, it's a virtual cooking session. So we would meet prior. We would meet one on one and just kind of have a conversation about what your current relationship is, what's kind of going on for you right now, and where do you want to go? What do you want to be experiencing? And then after kind of getting on the same page with that, I want the client to provide a recipe for us to prepare, like something that they is, from their childhood that they loved, or something that they just love right now, or they want to try, or maybe it's, something they want to prepare for their friends and family. And then we are going to get together and, I'll be preparing the same thing, and we're just going to make it together, and we're going to kind of go through the steps, and we're going to bring in some embodiment practices to, bring awareness, bring presence, and also, like I mentioned, joy and playfulness and creativity, because food is meant to be enjoyed. And when we can step away and learn to heal our relationship with food, it can bring us so much pleasure, nourishment, and connection with other people.
And I could have used you in my recovery, let me tell you, because I spent a lot of times crying in my bed by myself because I did it on my own, second time around.
Yeah.
And it's so lonely. And really looking back, I really could have had, like, that would have helped a lot. Just someone to sit with me and get me out of self, so to speak. And I just think that's lovely. I do. Like, that could have been so helpful. I wish I
Thank
knew
you.
about you.
You're right. It is so lonely, especially like because we don't really want to share our struggles with people. And I think that's a beautiful piece to your podcast, is because you're putting your voice out there and you're letting people know you're not alone. Like there's so many other people that are struggling with eating disorders, and I agree. I think eating disorders are very like an addiction. So there's very similar components to other people. So it's, you're not alone. It may feel like it, and it's really scary to reach out and say, "Hi, I'm struggling too," but there's other people out there to support you.
Well, I always say find your guides,
Mm-hmm.
find the people who have walked this path, because maybe I'm cynical. Okay, I'm cynical. But I have a problem with people going to people, and especially in treatment or hospitals or wherever the heck you've been, because I've been there too. Unless you walk this path, you don't get the noise. Like you just don't. And it's really hard for someone who doesn't understand. Like I always say, I can't counsel someone coming off heroin. I don't know what the hell that's like, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why not go to the person who already did it? Because they have a map.
Yep.
And the thing I always say too, my kryptonite is my medicine, which is a double-edged sword. So making peace with food, you need food to live. It's a thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to figure something out. So I love that we are going to make peace with this. We're going to do something lovely. And yeah, you're not going to get away from it. You're never going to be able to go to a holiday dinner ever. Like just not having the anxiety to go to a holiday dinner or just sit at a kitchen table. That took so long for me to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm going with really great intentions and nope, gotta go. Bye-bye. Not happening.
Yeah.
So is that something you do with like work? Let's say like me and you're working together and I'm like, I can't sit at the table. I can't without like going to the loony bin.
hmm
How do we work up to that?
So I would have you kind of during a session bring that energy or that anxiety that you would be feeling, so you could sit with it in that moment, and you could kind of get used to feeling it, allowing it to be there, understanding maybe where it's from, and kind of building, I don't want to say a tolerance, but kind of, building some tolerance around this, which will cultivate strength for you to then go to these places, these gatherings, and you might start feeling this, and you'll be like, you know what? I know this. This is familiar, and I've sat with this before, and it's okay. And I've gotten myself through it, and this is just here again, but now there's other people. And if you have to take a moment to go in another room and just kind of take a breath, that's perfectly fine too. But it's really just kind of coming to meet these emotions, maybe in a safe setting, in a safe place, a one-on-one, where I can hold space for you and support you to be with that. And then as I said, like, then you get kind of, you build some confidence and some trust in yourself, and you're like, you know what, I got this, I can do this.
So let's say, all right, Kier, can sit at a table, yay me. Now, how do we learn? Because I always say, yeah, I want to recover, but I want my body to change. So the weight gain, no bueno, no thank you. How do we deal with that? Because that's got to happen.
Yes. I feel like there kind of has to be a little bit of, I feel like for a while, with me, I kind of just tried to not. I tried to wear forgiving clothes, that were kind of, stretchy, and so I didn't notice as much. And I tried not to pay attention. I mean, obviously you notice it, and it feels uncomfortable, but there's also this piece around, like, this is healthy. Like, this is what my body needs. And, eventually, after a couple years, I would say 3 to 5 years of being in recovery, of nourishing your body and taking care of yourself will level out to its natural weight, without the, restricting or the binging or the intense exercise. If you can kind of just get to a natural state for yourself, you'll level out to where your body is meant to be. And it might fluctuate, 5 to 10 pounds, but I feel like where I'm at now, I just feel good. I feel I have energy. I have stamina to do things that excite me.
And isn't that I lovely? Because I always say like, yeah, I was in life. I always say it's like watching the football game, but you're on the team, but you're on the sideline. You're not playing the game. You're not really there, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're there, but you're not. So to be involved again is a really nice freeing feeling. So, and I love that you said 3 to 5 years because we forget how long whatever we did to ourselves was. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to take a bit. Like, there's a lot of repairing, not just your brain. Like, there's a whole bunch of stuff inside you
Yeah.
that needs to be repaired. And that's not going to be in a snap, right? A lot of people are now, this generation, we're used to getting all of our information right now, right now, right now, right now, right now. We forget that it's time.
Mm-hmm.
So from there, what would be a really, if you could give us like another top tip? We're in a new body. We have to go shopping again, like anxiety. How do we? And dressing room mirrors, I don't know what they do to them, but none of them are good.
Oh,
I
no.
swear it's conspiracy. I have no idea. And the lighting's always horrible. So no
Yep.
one's going to look good. So just, it's not you. I think I honestly do think there's something up there. But how do we be like, all right, it's okay. It's okay. How do we get to that point?
Um, I think it starts by just being gentle with ourselves and maybe knowing that it's it might be uncomfortable. It probably will be uncomfortable, especially the first couple times that we go and buy new clothes. And maybe it'll take us a while to to actually be excited about it, but maybe starting with, like I said, purchasing some things that are kind of a little more, that have a little bit more stretch to them or like flow to them, so they don't feel super. I know that for me, like having, for jeans, I struggled with jeans because they felt really like just uncomfortable
Restrictive.
and restrictive and tight. So I wore like stretchy jeans for a while, or leggings or yoga pants. But then getting to a place where, as you build up your resilience in this space and like slowly kind of get back into the the excitement of shopping, it can be exciting. I mean, you get to go and you get to pick out something that you really love for yourself and that you feel good in. I would say that's the most important piece, is that you want to feel good in it. So pick out something beautiful or lovely or cozy or comfortable that makes you feel good. And then, just kind of, you don't have to do it all in one day, but just keep doing that. Keep focusing on what makes you feel good.
So got the clothes, feeling good, sit at a table, feeling good, everything's good. And I phone you up and I'm like, all right, I'm here. What's the next step?
Um, with a coaching session,
Mm-hmm.
um, we could look at maybe some goals that you want for yourself. So if you're feeling good, you're eating better, what are some things that maybe you have always wanted to do or to explore for yourself, to try, that maybe your eating disorder has distracted you from? Or, I mean, it's very time consuming to be in an eating disorder, I feel like, and it takes a lot of your energy away. So putting some more of your focus and attention towards what lights you up and what do you want to have in your life.
So do you do like, is there like a to-do sheet? Like, so when I'm at this certain, or is there to-do sheets all through the stages? Or is it when you get to a certain, like, now we can look at the good? Because I believe in law of attraction. You got to feel good to bring in good, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is harder to get to the good, and it's harder to like be your own hype man. But how would how does that all work out with you?
Um, I'm at the end of the session. I kind of have the client actually tell me a few things that they feel like that comes up for them that they want to work on. Whether that's like, if a lot of times when we end a session, I feel like we'll kind of get to a place where people have these ideas of things that they can do to kind of move this forward. And whether that's an embodied movement practice, or, you know, calling somebody and letting them know how they're feeling, or filling out an application for this new job, like whatever kind of little steps that they come up with for themselves. And then if I have some things come to mind, I'll ask them if they're comfortable with me sharing. And I wouldn't say it's necessarily a to-do list, and then I'll follow up with some notes from our session, just kind of reminding them of the points that they mentioned that they wanted to work towards after, the session, and then maybe following up in a couple days or a week or so and seeing how things are going, how they're feeling, just to kind of check in for accountability.
That's so awesome because it's, I really wish I knew about someone like you because it's hard. It's like whatever you're going through, but you sound like having a best friend, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a non-judgmental best friend and wanting to make you live your best life. I think that's amazing. So where can they find you? Like you're all over. I know you're on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
What are
Yes.
all your handles?
I have my website, which is kimberlygeason.com. And then I am on Instagram at kimberly.geason. And then I also have a Facebook page. It's Kimberly Geason Feminine Embodiment Coaching. So those are my three main areas that people can reach out to me. And then I have a blog through my website as well if people are interested in reading about any topics related to embodiment or just emotions and healing in general.
And I'm going to assume your other clients are on there. So you get feedback from other people, right? And like, it's nice having a village, right? And so you're getting you and everyone that comes to you. So you're getting a lot of bang for your buck, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A lot of empowerment. I love that. So in closing, what would be the number one thing I can say to myself tonight to have a good sleep and wake up with a good attitude tomorrow? I know I'm asking for a lot.
That regardless of how the day went in your view of good or bad, you did your best, and it's okay. I love you, and tomorrow's another day.
Yeah, that alone can get you through a lot, right?
We're gonna go to bed tonight. We're gonna get some rest, and tomorrow is a new day.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. I can't thank you enough.
Thank you so much for having me. It was really a pleasure just being able to talk to you about eating disorders and awareness. And I really hope that somebody will find this message helpful in some way.
Oh, I'm sure someone will. I'm sure a lot of people will. Go check her out. Go check out Kimberly. Like I say, I can't say it enough. You find the guides. Find the guides because don't make your own path. It's a lot easier if you just find the guide.
Mm-hmm. It is, yes.
It is. From experience.
And I just want to say I thank you so much for what you do. I think this is really important for, as I mentioned, for people to know that there's others out there that have struggled and that have healed. It's possible.
It is. Awesome. Thank you so much. I can't thank you enough.
Yeah. Thank you, Heather.
That's all for this episode of 1% Better. To continue the conversation, head over to our website at www.1percentbetter.ca, where you can access more stories and resources. We'd also love it if you subscribed and left us a review on your favorite podcast platform. And remember, friends, progress takes patience, perspective, and sometimes a little help from people who get it. So be kind to yourself and others as we work to get 1% better every day. We'll see you back here next week.